Good evening, my friends. Javier here with The Real Javier Novoa, a channel, a platform, and a modality where we apply interiorism and the principles of philosophy, spirituality, and good business sense, and the biographies of great men and women to rapid lifestyle transformation, to living life on your terms, to getting off the prison grid. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder, for those of you who truly have big dreams, and I hope that's all of you, for those of you who have huge intentions, for those of you who are moving out of the ordinary and into the quantum, ladies and gentlemen, because just to have goals and to bang out the work on the material to get to those goals can be satisfying and is satisfying. And even many processes include giving yourself small goals. But whatever goal that you can give yourself and then think of the path to that goal and then divide it up into pieces and so on and so forth, plot those pieces on a schedule and say, I'm going to do this, now I'm going to do this, now I'm going to do this. It's absolutely essential to know how to do that in business and even in life when you're trying to administer, say, a family or a household. But that's very small and minor compared to what interiorism offers you. The possibility that interiorism offers is that of a quantum shift, because you can keep setting and attaining goals for the rest of your life, and maybe in 20, 30 years of compound interest, you might be able to save up $2 million to retire that you're not going to be able to live to enjoy, because you'll probably be tending to the health issues that the hard work necessary to put in for that entails. But if you have an intention, ladies and gentlemen, and you know how to do that, then things are going to come to you from the quantum, from the unknown, that are greater than anything that you could accomplish simply with the aid of the physical. And our unfoldment of interiorism is going to explain all of these principles to you and how to do it. But today, just a word on faith, ladies and gentlemen, because faith is necessary to attaining your intention. Of course, that's a trick statement, because we know on this channel that you don't have to have faith to do it. All you have to do is practice the principles, and when you practice the principles, of course, the result will come. But you have to have faith in the sense that we're going to talk about tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, love him or hate him, Elon Musk is a wizard of creation and productivity. He's attained what arguably no other entrepreneur in history has attained. He's going to space, ladies and gentlemen. He's the first private individual to shoot rockets into space, at least successfully. He's also the first person to actually popularize and distribute among the general population electric cars. He's also the owner of X, which is a very well-known, perhaps the most well-known social network and news platform and so on in the world. Love him or hate him, you've got to give him a primary spot. He is indeed a master manifester, even if he doesn't do it intentionally or consciously, and we don't know. Some statements would indicate that he knows, some statements would indicate that he doesn't know. But anyone who's successful has to know these principles at least implicitly. And one statement that actually talks about what we teach on this channel about faith and actually goes into that. He was asked in a great interview with Lex Friedman a few years ago, and I tried to find the excerpts, but I was sort of in a hurry to make the video, and because I have other things on the agenda today, I didn't have time to find the excerpts, but we'll play those. But just basically paraphrasing him. He was asked by Lex Friedman, he said, what do you do to marshal inner strength? Where do you turn for strength? Where do you go when it becomes dark and you start lacking faith in the project or lacking faith in yourself? And Elon said, I don't think in those terms. I just ask myself, is this a good thing? And then I just go and do it. He said in another segment of the same video, He said, how do you attain things that are seemingly impossible? That engineers would say, oh no, you can't do that. And Elon Musk has attained it. And Elon Musk said, you know what? I tell the team, I sit down with the team and I say, this is the objective, and just go and do it. And we're going to do it. And he said, you know what? The team gets together, and no matter seemingly impossible or not, they do it. And of course this may seem like by me, but no, it's actually through me because of the state that Elon Musk is in. The words don't necessarily matter so much as the state of being when you go down that tunnel. And we're going to dilate on that more. Another statement that he said in the interview, and these are all statements to contemplate from probably the most successful man, at least in monetary terms, probably in the history of the world. And in terms of doing things that make an impact. Because according to his biographer, Isaacson, Elon Musk only goes into business to do things that have a major impact. He wants to get humanity to space. He wants humanity to go interstellar. He is pro-humanity. He also wanted electric cars because he is an environmentalist. And we can argue about the pros and cons of that, but this was the vision that he has. And so he went out and did that. Elon said, going into the car business, when he went into Tesla, he had made money from PayPal. And he had a few $1 million, but nowhere near enough to go into the car industry. You see, to go into the car industry, you have to convince investors to give you billions of dollars. I think it's something like $10 billion to $20 billion just to get your foot in the door in the automobile industry. And Elon Musk said, I knew when I went into Tesla I had about a 15% chance for success. But I went in. And the interviewer was like, why do you do that? He was amazed. And he just said, because when I think something needs to be done, or for our channel's purposes, when I believe a state or an intention needs to manifest in the physical, then I just go for it. And like he said, I told the team, let's just go for it. Something to contemplate, ladies and gentlemen, especially vis-a-vis interiorism and what we're trying to do. And what a lot of us are trying to do is much more simple than what Elon has already accomplished with this. And I am going to dare to venture to you today that the frame of mind that Elon goes into, when he says, I just tell the team, let's do it, which also can be metaphysically applied to your inner team, to all of those inner dimensions and personalities, sometimes split one against another. You know, Joel Goldsmith talked about the fact that he would just sit sometimes and watch a battle of dualism go on inside him, one side and another side. We all have this within each other, within one another rather. It's called ambivalence. So I also heard a great meditation from the great New World Publishing leader. I'll recall his name in a minute. But he basically had a meditation where he said, look, I'm going to gather the whole counsel of all of the beings which are within me, even all of the doubts and fears and so forth, and I'm going to tell them, okay, we're going to do this and I need you all on board. And subconsciously you can get them all on board. So when Elon Musk said, I told the team, you can metaphysically and subconsciously apply this to your inner team and say, look, even my doubts and fears, just come on board for this because we're going to make this happen. And then you can even tell yourself, we're going to make this happen. And that state of mind, ladies and gentlemen, I dare to put it to you, is the state of mind that Neville talked about as the mustard seed. Indeed, the great Shlomo Friedman, who's one of the mentors of this channel, one of the great masters of manifesting and reality transurfing, talked about the fact that he calls this aspect sealing oneself. And that's what Musk does. Even if something has only a 15% chance for success and he wants it, he seals himself in that, and then he will not listen to any suggestions to the contrary. Of course, his normal workaday aspects, he'll listen to the advice of others and so on and so forth, tweaking it. But remember, you cannot listen to engineers and accountants when you're trying to create something new. And interiorism is all about creating something new. So the first rule of this, ladies and gentlemen, is faith. And faith is not trying to believe it. Faith is declaring it and sealing yourself in that. It says, Jesus said, having the faith the size of a mustard seed. And I just want to read from Neville, his great work called Freedom for All. And it's basically an interpretation of Scripture. And Neville said, faith, he is told, or he said, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you, if you have that faith the size of the mustard seed. And he said that this mustard seed proved to be a stumbling block, because man has been taught to believe that a grain of mustard seed signifies a small degree of faith. So naturally he wonders why he, a mature man, should lack this insignificant measure of faith when so small an amount assures success. So you see what he's talking about here. Many of us, especially those of us who have been brought up on Abraham Hicks, who's probably the greatest teacher of law of attraction, we got so nervous about our contradictory beliefs or not having the belief, and then we got angry with ourselves for not believing, and then we gave up focusing on the pursuit because we said, oh, we don't believe it, we're not going to attract it. But this channel is going to teach you to move beyond that, because it's no longer attraction. Why? Because this is interiorism. You already have all of it within you, so therefore there's nothing to attract. So when you have an emotion that says, I don't believe it, as Neville said, this is the stumbling block, because it doesn't matter if you believe it. You believe it because you declare it. It's like in the great book, the first self-help, or one of the first self-help book, The Power of Positive Thinking by Peale. He said, when you make a suggestion to yourself, and then your body tells you you don't believe it, say, now wait a minute, you believe this. Now, in some cases this may be forced, and we don't recommend that, but you see the general tenor of that. You do believe it. It doesn't matter what your feelings say in that point. And you can go to that state of just daring to declare it and daring to believe it. Neville Goddard said many times, dare to assume that you are the person that you want to be. And why would you dare? If there was no opposition to it, there would be no reason to dare. But you're daring in spite of the inner conversations and inner opposition to it, because when you're becoming someone different in the 3D, of course, what you were before is going to revolt against that. That need not be a problem. All you need to do is persist in the knowing, and that's what we're going to talk about here. Sealing yourself in the knowing of it, even if you only have, on this film roll, a 15% chance of success. Now, you have to determine what your values are, because if it's not important to you, then you're not going to persist in it. Just like Elon says, it's something that needs to be done. It's something important. So it needs to have some value to you. And then when it has value to you, we're going to teach you how to find that. Find out what indeed has value to you. I dare say that getting off the prison grid should have value to the majority of viewers on this channel, because we no longer want to go and have our schedule controlled by someone else. Well, this is the intention and this is the value. What could you do if you were free? Were you free? Because you are free. What could you do, and what value does that have to you? And the more value you ascribe to it, the easier it's going to be to persist in that. But Neville went on. Faith, he is told, is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And again, through faith, the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. And this is Scripture. Invisible things were made visible. The grain of mustard seed is not the measure of a small amount of faith. On the contrary, it is the absolute in faith. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you can understand this, and if you don't understand it, that's fine. Just keep listening and just let the words flow through you. But this is a faith that does not admit of degrees or gradations, which means that you can't have 75% of faith one day and 30% of faith the other. No, this is an absolute faith. It's unwavering and unchanging. That means no matter what's happening within you, no matter if you believe that you don't believe, you believe. So no matter whether or not you believe, you believe. You understand this? Know that you believe. And what Neville's talking about here is a knowing. He calls it faith, but it's a knowing, because he's saying this is the absolute in faith, which means you already are it. I don't have to have faith of the fact that there's a blue curtain behind me. I already know that. Of course, it's all within me, but that makes the point even stronger. A fortiori, as they say in logic. But a mustard seed is conscious of being a mustard seed, he says, and a mustard seed alone. It is not aware of any other seed in the world. It is sealed in the conviction that it is a mustard seed in the same manner that the spermatosa, sealed in the womb, is conscious of being man and only man. A grain of mustard seed is truly the measure of faith necessary to accomplish your every objective. But like the mustard seed, you too must lose yourself in the consciousness of being only the thing desired. You abide within this sealed state until it bursts itself and reveals your conscious claim. And of course, by faith, he says, God calleth things that are not seen as though they were, and makes them seen. This is beautiful, so I just want to go on with this. He says, it is faith which enables you to become conscious of being the thing desired. Again, it is faith which seals you, as the great Shlomo Friedman talks about, seals you, as Elon Musk said, you know what? I don't care about the fact that I only have 15% chance of success according to the statistics on this film roll. I'm sealed in the fact that I'm already a successful automobile company director and distributor of electronic vehicles and so on and so forth. Until your invisible claim, interiorism, ripens to maturity and expresses itself. And that's another very important fact that we'll talk about more. You need to let it ripen, ladies and gentlemen, so you don't rush and pluck that tomato while it's still green. Rather, you allow it to ripen. And therefore, you don't lift a finger, metaphorically speaking, to make it happen. Rather, you wait until the circumstances ripen, and then you take inspired action. We hope you understand us just a little bit. There's so many gems in this. But he goes on to say, how would you feel if you were that which you desire to be? Wear this mood, this feeling that would be yours if you were already that which you desire to be, and in a little while you will be sealed in the belief that you are. Then without effort this invisible state will objectify itself. The invisible will be made visible. If you had faith of a grain of mustard seed, you would this day, through the magical substance of feeling, seal yourself in the consciousness of being that which you desire to be. And that is the essence of interiorism, ladies and gentlemen. Seal yourself in it and do not care about any other suggestions, even those from within. And we're going to talk about self-conversation. We're going to talk about self-dialogue, because it is the self-talk, ladies and gentlemen. It's the conversations that you have with yourself every day that are going to make the difference, even more than any technique. If you can visualize your state and actually get into your state during meditation, but then if you come out and you have those same conversations with yourself, that's going to delay it on the outer. But what you do is you get control of those inner conversations, and feeling it first or not, you start to direct those conversations. Oh no, I already have this. This is already mine, and my evidences, though not presented from the senses, are within, and here they are, and because now you can imagine yourself doing this or that, or one part of it or the other. We're going to talk about more. But ladies and gentlemen, this is how to seal yourself into the state, ladies and gentlemen. Become as the mustard seed. In another illustration, he talks about the tomb. You seal yourself in the tomb for 3 days, and then you resurrect on the third day, and that is the attainment on the physical. But it has to be 3 metaphysical days, and you cannot rush it. you let it ripen. So, ladies and gentlemen, get into state, seal yourself in the state, and do not allow any suggestions to the contrary dissuade you. This is how all successful men in history have succeeded. It's from the story and biography of Elon Musk. So thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you find value in our materials, I'd invite you to subscribe to the channel below. Hit the subscribe button. You'll be joining a group of master manifestors, as well as helping us get the word out, which I think is very important, especially in the modern, confusing world that the rest live in who do not have this knowledge. So I thank you so much. I'm doing coaching calls, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to put my email in the description. You can email me, jump on a call, and we will help you to walk step by step in the path of interiorism to getting everything that you want. So until very soon, ladies and gentlemen, this is Javier with the real Javier Novoa, with much love, signing off.